speaking of Phil-Ams, it's actually an interesting point. There's been a lot of, I guess, recent controversy on half-breeds in the Azkals and Philippine volcanoes. Have you personally ever been affected by your nationality or your race in sports here in this country?
In this country?
Yes. Have you ever felt any of those?
No. From the beginning, I'll be modest. I've had some success in basketball here in the Philippines. So I've never really experienced any discrimination or people trying to put me down because I'm a black American or anything like that. Of course, sometimes when you're in the heat of the moment of the game, the fans on the other side of the opponents do call you names. But I think that's part of it. That could happen in the States as well as it could happen here. But as far as basketball is concerned, I think the Phil-Ams are good for basketball here. For one, they're Filipinos. So why should they be not denied a chance to play in the PBA? If they have Filipino blood, they should be allowed to play. Two, I think because their skill level is normally pretty high, considering that they played in the States, and they played at a higher level in college in the States, they can bring something as far as skill is concerned too to the PBA. That can uplift the competition. So that way it's good also. But at the same time, I think the Phil-Ams have to be able to embrace the culture when they get here. I think that's the thing that sometimes is lacking with the Phil-Ams here. They have to embrace the culture, maybe try to learn the language a little bit, so that the people will accept them a little bit easier. Because let's face it, when I first came to the Philippines, the stars were Sonny Jaworski, Mon Fernandez, Abby Gudabin, Atoy Ko, Francis Arnaiz. All of these guys were homegrown. Most of the fans had followed them through, some of them through high school, through college, all the way up to the pros. So there was a connection from when they were young, when they started to become good basketball players. So when they got to the pros, it was very easy for people to cheer for them because everybody watched them grow. But in the case of the Phil-Ams, nobody watches how the Phil-Ams grow. They just show up once they're men already, when they're 22, 23, 24 years old, and then they get a job in the PBA. So that means that the Phil-Ams have to do a little bit extra as far as embracing the fans, embracing the culture, and embracing the Philippines.
As you have.
Conte, yeah, a little bit, yeah.
What is it about the Philippines that made you stay? I mean, I don't think you originally had planned to stay.
Well, I love the country. The reason why I came here in the first place, because I had an opportunity to go other places to play, was because of the weather. I actually researched the Philippines before I came here in the encyclopedia. Because of the weather, number one, because mostly everybody spoke English, because I had already played in South America before I came here in Venezuela, and nobody spoke English there. So it was very difficult to communicate. For breakfast, I used to point to the menu as to what I would want, because everything was in Spanish. You just point to the pictures, the American breakfast, you just point to the American breakfast. So when everybody was speaking English here, that really helped me as far as knowing that it would be an easier adjustment for me. And also, it was big-time basketball. People don't realize that when I got out of college, which was many, many years ago, the Philippines was one of only 3 professional leagues in the world. You had the NBA, you had the CBA, which was the Continental Basketball Association, which was the minor league to the NBA, which is now called the D-League in the States, and then you had the PBA. There was only 3 professional leagues around the world. The rest of the leagues were amateur leagues. So the PBA had a reputation when I first came here for always taking care of their imports and for paying on time, which is something that does not happen all over the world. So it's the main reason why I came to the Philippines, and it's the main reason why I stayed. Now, if you ask me why am I still here, I married a Filipina 28 years ago. And we're still married up to now, we're still together, and she likes it in the Philippines. She doesn't like it in the States. She's a little bit different from most Filipinas or Filipinos for that matter who want to move to the United States. My wife wants to stay here in the Philippines.
Since you like it here, no problem?
Correct, yes.
And now we're going to get more questions from social media. We've got a lot of questions for you. So the first question is from @PeeWeeRuiz. What else does he want to achieve as a coach?
Well, my goal as a coach is to keep improving, to keep going back to basketball coaching clinics in the States and all over the world to try to keep improving my craft. I'm like any other businessman who's trying to make money out there running his business. I work for Manny Pangilinan, MVP, and he's constantly trying to improve his business empire. Well, I'm not to that scale, obviously, but as a basketball coach, I want to coach until I retire. That's what I want to do. I don't want to just coach today and then don't have a job tomorrow. So I want to keep improving my skill. And of course, with that comes wanting to win. The willingness to go out and work as hard as you can to try to win basketball games. That's what it's all about. In competition, you're either a winner or a loser. There's really no gray area. They say the team that comes in second place is a loser.
And always forgotten.
That's correct. Yeah, nobody remembers the second place team. So I understand I can't always win, and I haven't always won in the past. But at the same time, I want to keep improving my skill level as a coach and maybe my ability to deal with people so that I can continue to grow as a coach and continue to be successful.
How do you measure success?
Well, it's not just about always winning, that's for sure. I think it's about how you win also. And what type of person are you? Are you developing relationships with the people that you're working with? Do they respect you? Do they love you at the end of the day? I mean, do they trust in you? I mean, winning is the biggest part of it, but at the same time, the building of the relationships that sometimes last forever are also very important.
And you think you got better with that over the years?
Definitely. Ashley Ateneo has helped me a great deal as far as that's concerned. Because when I was in the PBA before, I always treated the games as more of a, I have to prepare for the next game. I have to prepare for the next game. I wasn't really trying to develop individual relationships with all of the players. I just wanted to utilize their talents to help me win games. But in college, it's a little bit different because, like I said, you recruited these kids from their household, from their high schools. You develop relationships with them to the point that those relationships will actually last forever.
Second question is from @BoyBarrio. What is his shoe size?
14.
14.
Sad to say.
Do you have problems getting
always. I
shoes
cannot
here?
buy shoes in the Philippines. Yes.
You always have to go elsewhere in the U.S.?
Well, I'm lucky for the basketball shoes because Nike supplies me with basketball
Great.
shoes. Thank you, Nike, for all that. And
But
I
anything
don't have a
else?
problem with that. With
Okay.
casual shoes or basketball shoes. But for any other shoes, leather shoes, I have to buy them in the States.
Okay.
I normally have to go to Nordstrom's.
Get the special
They're the
size.
only ones that have size 14. Yes.
Okay, and from @Merknut, which of the candidates to replace him does he think is as competent?
Replacing me?
Yes.
I have no idea who the finalists consist of. I know I read the newspapers just like everybody else. People might not realize this, but I'm really out of the process as far as who's going to replace me. I don't think it's really appropriate that I be involved in that process. I've heard the names of Bo Parasol, I've heard Olson Rosella, I've heard Alex Compton and some other, Coach Sandy and some other names, but it's really up to them. Right now I'm just focused in on one thing, and that's trying to win this year. I'm just worried about Adamson on opening day and then UST after that, and NU after that. Anything involving anything after this UAAP is not on my mind right now.
Well, we're running out of time, but just to wrap up, what do you think has been your biggest success? As a player, as a coach, what do you consider your biggest achievement?
Well, just recently, I went home to the United States. I have not been back to my university, which is St. Joe's University in Philadelphia, for maybe about 12 years. And a good friend of mine who I played with in college, he arranged for me to come back to the school. Actually, I went back to the school on my own, but he arranged for a lot of my teammates from when I was in college, my college coaches, the athletic director, everybody, to be there for a dinner, which I was kind of amazed at because why would they all come together for me? Why me? And just to make a long story short, when I graduated from college, I had a pretty good college career. My success in basketball as a player didn't just start here. I was a pretty good player in the States also. And normally when you graduate from college, they have a Hall of Fame for basketball in college and for Philadelphia basketball. And you become eligible after 5 years. I made the Philadelphia Hall of Fame and the St. Joe's Hall of Fame after 5 years. So that was a great honor for me. I was still young then, I was only about 26 years old. But just recently when I went home, they informed me that they inducted me into the Athletic Hall of Fame, which is for all of the athletes who ever went to the St. Joseph's University. And they just started this Hall of Fame just a few years ago. So I'm really proud of that. I love my college, my university, not so much because of just the basketball and what it taught me as a basketball player, but more because I was able to gain an education. Because what I found out is I stopped playing basketball probably full-time when I was about 34 years old, okay? And what I found out very quickly was there has to be life after basketball. And all of a sudden, when my basketball career was over, it was my education that I had to turn to. It's my education that benefited me the most up till now. Can you imagine at age 34 is a very young age to retire from anything? So you have to be able to do something after that. So I'm really, really proud of the fact that they did induct me into the Athletic Hall of Fame. I'm supposed to receive my award on November 10. I'm not sure whether I'll be able to go there to receive it, but at the same time, I'm really happy with that. So that's probably a big achievement for me, at least personally, as far as basketball is concerned, yes. You talk about coaching, well, there's really two. One is what's happening right now in Ateneo with winning 4 straight championships, something that's never been done in the school history before. But also, I would also have to put the Grand Slam and the PBA right up there with it. Because we did, in the PBA, the San Miguel Beer team not only won a Grand Slam, we actually won 4 straight. We actually won 6 out of 7. That team, that particular team with Mon Fernandez and Samboy Lim and Hector Calmer, Evan Stiglitz, Ricky Brown, that was just a great team. And it was really, I'm really proud to have been a part of that team and been able to coach that team. But as far as basketball is concerned, probably those 2 things will probably be the biggest accomplishments, yes.
So what's next? What's next for Coach Black?
Adamson.
Okay.
We have to beat them on opening day, for us, opening day. And that's the whole focus right now is Adamson. And then we'll focus in on UST after we get finished with them.
And so you're not thinking beyond the UAAP and beyond this season?
Well, I think you're aware that I'm moving on to the PBA, I'm moving on to Talking Text, but I've always been able to live in the moment. I've always been able to focus in on the task at hand, which is to try to win for the Ateneo team this year. And even though I'm aware that I'm going to have to walk right into the door at the PBA immediately when the UAAP season's over, which is also a big responsibility, I don't want to overstep what's happening right now, my responsibility here for Ateneo. So I'm just focused in on what's happening actually today for practice.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for joining us, Coach Norman. It was a pleasure to talk to you. And thank you for joining us at Talk Thursday. This is Natasha Gutierrez for Rappler.com.